Everybody say something real quick so I can make sure you're coming over to the live stream.
Test, test, test.
Hello.
Okay, we're good. We are live. Hey, everybody. Time for some more painting. I'm painting Aurra Singh. I already got the base colors and washes down on her, so it's just going to be highlighting tonight and the base. What is everybody else painting? We have special guests this week. We have regular guest Kurt. Kurt, what are you painting?
I'm working on Kraken, I guess. Not Kalani Kraken. Yeah, for Shatterpoint.
Okay. And special guest Bethany.
Hello.
What are you painting?
I am not painting a miniature, but I am painting a mini pot to look like Chopper.
All right. And per usual, I busted out my Star Wars conversation cards. And our first question is bad news, you work for the Empire. Good news, you get to choose your boss. Who is it?
Oh my gosh. That's tough.
I have a really good answer that I feel like would be hard to beat. I would definitely pick. I don't remember his name, but that guy from Freemaker Adventures who does everything he can to just get cushy out of the way spots with no responsibility and gets mad when his subordinates like actually try. That guy. Although the problem working with him is
position.
The problem working with him is he tends to always like get into trouble with the Freemakers because they happen to show up where he's like trying to chill. But you know, I would like a Imperial boss who is just like, let's keep a low profile and not do anything.
That was the guy voiced by
that one guy.
What's that actor?
Yeah, that one guy.
I'm blanking on what he's actually been in besides
the guy
like
with the
West
funny
Wing
voice and the funny face, right? I think he was the hypochondriac in Scrubs.
He's definitely in West Wing.
Who watches West Wing?
Not me.
Freemaker Adventures Imperial. Durpin? I think it was Durpin. It's a good name for him.
His name is Durpin?
Durpin. Durpin was an Imperial officer. Okay. Who? Yeah, because he keeps. Yeah, because he always has like a little sidekick who like sub ensign. No, he gets demoted. He keeps getting demoted throughout the series because he's just trying to not do anything, but the Freemakers keep messing with that. What a good show.
I gotta find this guy's name.
Voiced by Richard Kind.
Richard Kind. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want him.
Right about you, Spin City. Stargate. I forgot he was in Stargate. Wow.
I'm using this Mars Red from Army Painter as the base for her jumpsuit. And I hate this paint. It's a good color. It's bad paint. It's so thin and splotchy.
There's nothing I can do. He's been in a bunch of Pixar stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, what color did you say?
Mars Red from Army Painter. It's like a really reddy orange. Looks nothing like Mars, but it's so the consistency is so weird.
So you're gonna layer up from red to orange on her? The red honestly looks really good on her.
It's like an orange red. Like I don't know how it comes across in the camera, but this is like a dark orange. If it's technically like a red, but this is like the orangiest of my reds. Usually when I'm highlighting red, this is like the highest highlight. Whereas this is what my starting, and then I'll start highlighting, orange into this.
Bethany, do you know what your Imperial boss would be?
Um, I don't. I say anyone who doesn't make me wear a stupid hat. Like, if I had to be in the Death Star with that stupid hat launching things, I'd be like, I quit.
The problem
Absolutely
is
not.
not like being implicit in pulling the trigger on ending billions of lives. It's having to wear that stupid like beetle shell hat the gunners wear.
I love the gunner helmets.
Oh my gosh. They're ridiculous. Whoever picked those hats is just, that's a travesty.
What were we, oh, here's some discussion for that might be repeated whenever you watch our Jedi Survivor series, whenever that comes out. But some can loop Kurt in on it. So Darth Vader never got a choice. Like, who designed Darth Vader's armor? Was there a fashion designer? Was it just did Palpatine have that ready to go? Was it like a last minute
Cobbled
thing? Like,
together
oh
from
crap,
random pieces.
I didn't expect this guy to need life support. Quick, pull out of the closet and grab that stuff. Like, who designed it, and why didn't he get to change? Like, Anakin,
Ever.
he modifies
Like,
his stuff.
get a new
Like,
helmet or anything.
yeah, he never
Yeah.
changed the style. Like, all that changes is the buttons on his chest are sometimes different colors, and his cape has sometimes a different orientation in regards to like his chest piece and shoulders.
Yeah, do we know when he got that installed? Was that still on Geonosis? Like, or not Geonosis, Mustafar, where they're like, shit, we don't have time to get him somewhere? Or were they like, actually, let's take him to
Kurt,
a certain planet?
the number of times you've watched Revenge of the Sith is showing. We see
Like,
him
probably less than 10 times easy.
wheeled out of the shuttle on a stretcher, like still in bacon mode, and they bring him into the medical center in Coruscant where he's fitted with the thing.
Coruscant. Okay.
So they had times where, like, it's probably not a quick flight from Mustafar to Coruscant.
Yeah.
They had time to like pick out
Mustafar's
some
Outer
good
Rim.
stuff. It is a
I was gonna
volcanic
say,
planet.
if it was on Mustafar, then you have some clues. Like, okay, this is something that separatist people had sitting around already, and they like pulled it out of the closet.
If it was Mustafar, it'd
dead
probably be
bodies.
like bronze. The like locals have a lot of bronze in their costumes.
That sounds cool. That would be a cool, like, almost.
But it's just
There's like a little steampunk vibes occasionally. Not really steampunk, but kind of that like Art Deco ish, almost Rocketeer style. Like, imagine Vader in like Rocketeer style bronze armor. That would be pretty awesome. But yeah, you're right. They went to Coruscant, so I mean, it implies that it's something that Palpatine had ready to go, possibly for a different project. That maybe he like repurposes it. Maybe he
right, because I don't think
he
I think he was happy Anakin got messed up, but I don't think he was planning on that. Like, it works out for him to have Vader be more vulnerable, but I don't think he was, like hoping or banking on that.
I could see him having it. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it could be something he just had set up for himself when he could no longer handle things.
It's like
So he didn't have to wheel around like oxygen or something.
Yeah, instead of like having a walker, he had this thing set up and ready.
I could see him planning ahead, like, given his track record with apprentices, including some we've probably never seen. He's probably like, these guys are gonna get hurt. We need to be ready for an eventuality, maybe,
I want to know the story of was there like a fashion designer, like a Coco Chanel, who designed it, was like sketching it out, like part of like, the prosthesis fashion industry? Like, is it a name brand suit?
Maybe it was just completely like off the shelf. and there's like
Yeah,
a bunch of people who have the same model.
there's other people who have like respiratory and like missing limbs, and they just they all wear that.
Now, after that, they got a lot of bad press. It kind of really hurt their image that everyone associated it with Vader. So they're like, okay, let's come up with a new look for our next model.
It depends on if it was like a Coco Chanel, then maybe she'd be happy with that. Coco Chanel, famous Nazi.
Oh, I don't know anything about any fashion people.
Well, most of the big names in fashion were Nazis. At least Coco Chanel and Hugo Boss.
Mm.
Um,
Still
now
been
I
trying to
just want
come
to
up
see
with a
like
good.
a generic guy who's like everyone's like, oh, Lord Vader, Lord Vader. He's like, what? And although their
Excuse me?
voices sound the same too,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like the same voice changer.
right? They it was like a low budget option, because the high budget option, as we've seen, is what's his stupid face, Baylor Valence, that bounty hunter guy who I hate from the comics, because he's
Mhm.
like he looks human. He's got synth skin. He's like the Terminator, and he's got better prosthetics than Vader. So Vader obviously has the low budget suit. So there's other like low income people out there looking like Vader, and that company could only afford like one voice synthesizer.
Yeah, I'm really imagining like a fun, wacky Prince and the Pauper type scenario where they get like swapped, and Vader's like, you know what? This easy life is kind of nice. And this other guy's like, oh shit, I have to like go try and assassinate Kit Fisto or so. I guess Kit
He's like
Fisto died already. I don't
he's
remember
being
who's
brought in
alive.
on like an interrogation day. Like, all right, Vader's the
Yeah.
best at getting the info out of these rebels. Go get him, sir. Hi.
And he's actually really good at it because he's just like nice to him.
They're
He
like,
doesn't
wow,
like
you know
torture
what?
them
I
at
heard all
all.
these stories about Darth Vader, and you know what? They were all wrong. Empire's not so bad.
They're all like, we'll never tell you anything. The Empire's evil. They torture slave Wookiees and stuff. And he's like, gosh, you're right. No, I totally agree.
I'm gonna look into
Turns it into a therapy session.
that. Kurt, who's your imperial boss?
I've been trying to come up with a good answer, and I think yours is honestly the best because like I keep kind of going, well, like this person isn't as bad. For example, like Ray Sloan or something, right? I'm like, okay, she's not as outright evil, but it's like, well, but she's still like evil enough that it's not great. Like she still leads to creating
Yeah,
the First Order and all this stuff. So it's like still not really good.
there's like,
uh,
is there any that who are high ranking who end up? How about Crix Maydeen? He was an imperial person, right? I want him so that way I can defect with him.
yeah, I think honestly that's kind of where I was leaning. Is like someone that I know I would defect with. So my first thought was his name Gorn or whatever in the Andor show? It's like, okay, if you could basically be ready to sabotage with this guy and then switch over, like that feels like a great opportunity. Obviously he doesn't end up surviving that whole thing, but like, you know, being in on it with him, I feel like would be at least morally better.
Trying to figure out
Do you think
where
do you think
color
Crix Maydeen
color do I go for next? I've got two bright
forget about
oranges.
Crix's fake beard.
One is the fake beard
Is it like
in
part
the.
of his uniform? Like everyone under him has to
I'll
wear
have to
it.
show you that next time we watch Return of the Jedi.
It's a local
Bethany.
custom.
There's a guy who's sort of he's got a speaking role, but he's got a very fake beard, and his character existed only in case the Akbar puppet didn't work. They needed a human character. Trying to figure out
I
what.
honestly could never tell when I was a kid.
Yeah, me neither. Same with Obi-Wan's
had no
fake beard
idea.
in Attack of the Clones. Like I've only like recently gone, oh yeah,
Oh
you can see
no.
it.
I don't want to know.
There's a number of reshoots in Attack of the Clones, so you can see that Ewan McGregor's beard is fake and his haircut is slightly different. I never really notice it, but when you look for it, you can tell. I think it's some you can notice some like every other shot in like Dex's Diner.
As long as it's not as bad as that Fantastic Four movie.
That was a good one. The Fantastic Four movie, every other shot, Kate Mara's she had a different like wig because of reshoots.
Oh no.
And it was the worst wig ever. Like not color matched at all to what her hair was before. It's just like they bought just the cheapest wig they could find. And they're like, that'll work. I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
nowadays
try
it'd
and
be
use this
like
mythical
all CGI.
orange. This mythical orange from Army Painter. But my problem with this Vallejo orange and this Army Painter orange is they're so runny and goopy, just like this Mars orange I'm dealing with. This is a color. I love this Jocaero orange.
Joquero.
Jocaero from Citadel, but I don't know if it's the right orange I need for her. This orange actually behaves like paint. All of these stupid other yellows and oranges from these dropper bottle people are driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a thin paint, there isn't really a good way to thicken it up other than mixing with a thicker one, but I mean, that's still not great.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be mixing it with this.
Yeah, Jokero's like kind of not dark, but kind of, well, a little less bright. The mythical one you had looks like a really nice shade.
Well, it looks a lot brighter on the palette, so I guess that'll give me room to work up to that. But I guess part of that shade might just be the how much I shake it. Yeah, that might be the highest highlight. So we'll see if we can get from Mars Red to Mythical Orange without me going crazy. Usually I really like painting orange, but since I've been moving away from Citadel paints, what I'm left with is more frustrating to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I know people like Army Painter. I still haven't used that much of it. I'm just really used to the GW shades, I guess.
Yeah, I'm used to the shades, and they've got better. I don't know, and just with the exception of their whites, I've never had like technical issues with stuff. The only issues I have is they gunk up and dry up on me a lot, which the dropper bottles don't. So, and their dropper bottles are cheaper, so I don't know what to do. I need to get a paint sponsor.
Yeah.
It's so thin. Is even a coat of this gonna show up in anything? Ugh. It's like thin and goopy at the same time. It drives me crazy.
Ew. I like how you're talking about like different types of paint, and I'm here with my like Walmart acrylic paints. Just paint in my pot.
Is they Walmart?
So
I
is
thought
it
those
basically
were like fancy ones.
No, I thought they were Walmart.
Oh, I thought they were like, I'm a real painter kind of paints. This.
No, they're the fake I'm a real painter.
Oh, okay. They're just branded that fooled me into thinking they were legit.
That's what you get. I'm just tempted to go and get my paint pens because that would be so much easier.
Okay, let's try some of this Vallejo stuff because this. It's just like, it almost feels like I'm putting on a little like glaze. It's just like spreading over and I don't see a change in color and I don't want to do 50 layers.
Bethany, can you describe your chopper flower pot a little more? Like you're gonna basically turn it upside down or what?
That was my original plan, and then Joe said no. because I'm painting it for him. So I'm using, it's like just one of those terracotta pots. So the top part is going to be like his orange head, and then the bottom part is going to be his body. So if I finish it, I'll have Joe share it.
You
But
can
I
you're
did the
capable of
orange
sharing
first.
it.
Yeah.
This-
Just not on social very much. But yeah, I started with the orange and I'm regretting that because the yellow on top of it is not coming out very easily.
Oh
So it'll
yeah,
be an
Yeah, I suppose
that's
not.
what
imperfection.
we us as seasoned veterans of the paint world could have told you that putting yellow on top of darker colors never goes well.
I wish, yeah, that's why I'm like,
What
do
you
I
need
want
to
to go
do
get my
is
paint markers?
no that wherever you want the yellow, paint it white first, and then put the yellow on top of that.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I'm about 5 layers in. I'm too stubborn. I'm just like, nope, I got to do it now.
Okay, this Vallejo color is definitely a way different shade. Like in the bottle, they look the same, but on the palette, one was like a pinky, peachy orange,
Hmm.
but it mixes way better with the stuff I had. So I'm going with that because this paint seems like paint. So I might just have to go with Vallejo in the future. This stream is just watch Joe struggle to mix paint.
That's a real part of painting, though. So
I have this other Vallejo that's sort of like a lighter version of this Jokero orange, but mostly just got it for skin tone stuff. This like light orange is good for highlighting darker skin tones. I feel like my paint collection has been like deteriorating in quality because I've been like replacing the ones I'm missing less frequently, so that there's just kind of more and more holes that I'm making do without. Or maybe in the past I'd like go immediately buy a replacement, and now I'm just like, but there's like similar-ish colors here still.
I mean, it's nice to try out different stuff,
Um,
different colors and different brands, and see.
if Oga's Cantina on Batu had a special drink named after you, what would it be called?
Hmm. Named after me.
And then it would just be called Joe, wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't even know.
How about here? This is perfect. The Refresher, because it sounds
Is
like a
it?
good name for a drink, but if you know Star Wars things, you know that means the bathroom.
It's a bathroom.
Will it make you go to the bathroom? Is it like a laxative type drink?
Oh no! For the
That's
true experience.
it's for like it's for drinking contests. Like picture when we first meet Marion in Indiana Jones, and she's like in a drinking contest with that guy. Imagine how much more incredible it would be to be able to do that with like a laxative.
Like how many you can drink before you crap yourself?
Yeah, or stand up and run away to the bathroom. You know,
Yeah, that sounds like a true challenge.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
yeah, I say the refresher, or just you know the Joe from the Jodo cast.
I don't know. It's kind of a tough question. Like, I don't know anyone would like associate with me to be like, aha, that's the essential essence for this drink, you know?
Same.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Most people, I think, who don't know me very well know me for the Jodo cast, and everyone else knows me for my bowel issues.
Everyone like globally.
So Kurt, you are a musician, so it could be like the the jizz bomb.
Oh my god. Yeah, it would have to be like something like, you know, Kurt's jizz, jizz something, and you can be like, have a nice gulp of jizz water. Jizz water.
Jizz and tonic.
Oh no. Okay, here's another question though. Besides laxative, what's actually in your drink? Like, what does it taste like?
Probably got some kind of peach flavor.
Mm.
Peach being one of my favorite scents / flavors.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, or it's gonna be like a weird pink, because you're always like, if it's pink,
Oh,
it
yeah.
probably tastes good.
That's another thing I live by is if there's a food item that's pink, it looks delicious to me. Like, you know, like artificial strawberry flavor or like berries. So if there's like a thing that is pink and I try it and it doesn't like live up to that in my mind, I always get really sad. The V8 smoothie. So yeah, peach or pink. If it's peach, you might be able to like make it look like Chopper maybe.
I mean, I think if I was like designing a drink from the ground up, just as a drink first, and then come up with a name later, you know, I would do some type of tropical thing. I've had some really good tiki drinks that I really legitimately enjoyed as a beverage, you know, with the right like fruits and stuff in there. And like I like the slightly sweeter alcohols, at least for real world alcohols, you know, rums and stuff. So I feel like it would be something like that. So, you know, it could be like I don't know, a Scarif Beach something.
Sex on the Scarif Beach.
Oh my god.
Can be the laser over Scarif, and it can have like a neon green straw that sort of represents the Death Star laser.
That would be awesome. It has to be,
or like one of those. It could just be like one of the like straws that is kind of glow in the dark or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a neon green.
Where it like catches the light.
Yeah.
And doing it as a Scarif drink is less tasteless than an Alderaan drink, like a lot of people would do for that, you know?
Yeah. I think I don't know what I would call mine, but I feel like I would have to play on the fact that of like my style, because I dress very dark, but I am not a very dark person. So it's like me and my socks where they're like colorful and Toy Story or Star Wars. So it'd be like a dark black drink, but it tastes like really fruity and yummy.
I mean, that sounds like Luke Skywalker, because he dresses in all black, but is like a nice guy.
Yeah, just a sweet boy.
It's a sweet old boy. I mean, he was playing with his ships at 19.
That's like the only thing you remember about Luke Skywalker.
It's his like. If you were to describe his personality in one scene, it's that.
Yeah, this kind of whiny young adult who like, I just want to play with my model ships.
I don't
Maybe
want to
didn't
do
have
work.
a-
Let me play
Harvest.
Doom Doom.
Could also I'd also take a drink named the Bad Motivator.
Mm-hmm. What
It
about
would
some
have
kind
some
of
kind of
Cad
like
Bane themed drink?
a bad motivator would have to have some kind of CBD or something in it to like really make you not want to do anything.
And it would have like a cool smoking. They would put like a ice cube in it that, like a
Somehow like
trying to think
pops,
of the word.
like it sits there and fizzles for a second, all of a sudden, bang! Like
That
Cat
would be
Bane
fun.
drink would have to have one of those
It'd
little
be blue.
umbrellas, but the umbrella is brown and way too big.
It'd have like blue curacao or UV blue or something in it to be the right theme. I feel like I don't know enough like obscure alcohols to come up
Yeah,
with good
we need
puns.
Yeah.
we need Evan. Evan and Leo, they're the drinkers. I am drinking a weirdly blue drink right now, but it's just water with some like flavor squirt stuff. Cause
And I
I'm
feel like
tired and I need caffeine. Oh hey, it's we have a viewer, John Lynch. What a topic to tune into. I feel the same way
yay.
about blue. What were we saying? How do we feel about blue?
With you and your pink.
Oh, I
That if it's
see.
pink, it's totally tasty.
I could see. I mean, bright like unnatural blue also looks very tasty. You know, if it's like a Jolly Rancher level of blue, like something that doesn't exist in nature. I remember, I think it was maybe my 7th birthday, I specifically like really wanted a pink cake. Like pink frosting, pink cake, and I got it and it was great.
Nice. I mean, I think if I was going to
Remember when
come
I
up
was
with.
gonna
Go
say
ahead.
when I was in middle school, I hated everything pink. I was like, don't give me anything pink.
I don't
I
like
liked orange.
pink, but I like pink
Hmm.
food.
But having pink food means you would have to have something pink too, like a cake.
Yeah, that's pink food. Cake is food.
Still pink.
Good thing little 7-year-old me was not aware of weird gender norms somehow. Or
It's
that
cool
my
that your parents just got it for you and didn't act weird about it.
yeah,
I assume, I guess.
as far as I mean, I have a hard time remembering things that happened last year, so that's you've heard the
Yeah.
extent of my recollection of that event. You know, maybe like behind the scenes, they're like, oh god.
If I was just gonna try to come up with a Star Wars drink that was like themed around just specific Star Wars things I really like.
Wait, hold on. John, if you didn't hear the prompt, the question is if there was a drink at Oga's Cantina named after you, what would it be called? Okay, continue.
I like the Hawk 290, that ship, or the Moldy Crow. If there's some way you could do a pun on one of those.
I feel like the Moldy Crow is already a good drink name, especially if like instead of salter on the
Yeah.
rim, it's just like green flocking. Hawk is a good one to work with because it sounds a lot like cock.
Hmm. Definitely a common word in drink names.
The Hawktail. The Hawktail
Oh,
290.
Hawktail 290. Yeah, that would be pretty good. And it would be like a brown drink, like an ugly brown,
With like
but it would
the
taste.
foam is green.
I feel like you could do a drink name pun on like, like Mon Calamari or Mon Calamari Cruiser or something. You know what I mean? Uh, Nothing's really coming to mind specifically, but it feels like there's something there, or um, something like massing at Celeste, but you somehow fit a
That sounds like a
an
medical
alcohol name.
issue.
The only thing I'm good at
No.
naming stuff punny is those animals in Stardew Valley. I can do those. I can't do cocktails, I don't think.
I got a joke for you that I just came up with. What do you call it when Admiral Akbar hits the baseball out of the park?
Home, one home run.
Just a home one. I should have said it. What is it called when Admiral Akbar hits it out of the park? A home one. I like seeing home one in the new show that we shall not talk about.
Yeah, it looked so good, and I think that's not a spoiler to say, but I want to say more than that, but
John says there's already a fuzzy tauntaun there, so the fuzzy part is taken. I wonder if there's some clone named pun or something. He also said bah ha 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 ha, presumably at all of the funny things we say.
yeah,
The
I feel
fuzzy
like something with 501st, some pun around that would be a good drink
501
for John.
proof.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, geez, that
It's
sounds deadly.
somehow what is that, like 450% alcohol or something? I don't know. I don't remember how proof works.
That would be a good brand name though for a like a specific, not a drink but a specific just brand of rum. 501 proof, a funny brand name. I would
I
endorse
ate at
that.
a restaurant today called Proof, and I don't know why it was called that.
Hmm.
Wasn't like math themed. Didn't seem particularly like alcohol ish. Didn't have anything about like things that commonly require proof, like cryptids or religion. It was just pizza. It was not pudding. Like maybe that'd be a good name for a pudding restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Would be. That'd be a fun one.
What does the fuzzy tauntaun taste like? I feel like they smell bad. Like, right? Shouldn't they smell bad?
Oh no.
John
I think that
says
would translate to a
Vader's
bad drink.
Vader's double fist. 501st Vader's double
Ooh.
fist. Referring to double fisting drinks. You can only ever order a legion's worth at a time. Like bring in like a whole soccer team. All right, new question. I'm making very slow progress on this highlighting of her jumpsuit. I'm not super happy with the colors, but we'll see. Let's pull from the front. Number 2. Boba Fett hires Jabba the Hutt's remaining Gamorrean guards when he becomes Tatooine's new daimyo. Would you have done the same? Why or why not? This sounds like something you'd ask your child before bedtime. Like, would you have murdered them or shown leniency? What is your crime lord style?
Yeah, it sounds like a discussion like in the Boba Fett unit at your school or something.
Yeah, it's in the history class. As we all know.
I mean, I would hire them. I'm not racist. They seem like, I don't know. If you don't have any other fighters around, they seem like they know what they're doing. They were very loyal to him, like very quickly. Like they were honestly, he kind of failed them by like letting them die instead of helping them. So he kind of sucks. but like they did their best for him.
He not a good crime lord, Boba Fett. I'll say that much.
No.
Not a good like he's a good boss in the sense that like he's doesn't want you to die, I guess, and he listens to your input, but not like not great at other stuff. I mean, yeah, I guess.
It takes a while to find your style, your management style, you know?
Yeah. So if we ever get more of Boba Fett, he's either gonna like be taking like management seminars or something. I really feel like that his story should just go. You know what? I tried it. Uh, wasn't great at it. Hey Finnick, how about you and I? Let's go be like the Punisher to other crime people, because
Just like go join people on Mandalore and be part of the Mandalore stuff and like
I don't
die
want him
in
to do
battle on
that.
Mandalore or something.
Oh, Boba Fett's too cool for all that Mandalorian crap. I think he just needs to him and Fennec go like be the Punisher to various ne'er do wells in the crime community, particularly ones that maybe he worked for in the past and was like, "You paid poorly," and he like convinces all the underlings to unionize and stuff. Because like that was sort of part of it, where he's like, I want to be in charge because the people who are usually in charge suck."
It's like put your money where your mouth is then, dude. Like show you know how to do it first.
Well, he
Then
knew
I'll
how to
believe
like
you.
uh
He knew what not to do.
yeah, he knew what not to
Not
do,
even
but he
that.
didn't. I don't know. That was not a
I
good
will
prompt.
probably say I would make them re-interview.
We have new management, so you're gonna have to go through the interview process again, and we'll see. We'll have to renegotiate your salary. Been some few changes. I mean, I'd probably just do what he did. Like, hey, you guys want to work for me? You promise to be cool, and if they do what they did and go, "Yeah, we'll be cool," they're in. If they go, "Nah, fuck you," then I'm like, "All right."
Do you think he ever talked to them like when they were both working for Jabba? Did they ever like hang out, or is this just like they saw each other in the hallway? You know what I mean? And this is like the
Yeah, I
first
guess
time
they
they've
used
ever
to
actually
be
introduced.
sort of coworkers. It's like, hey guys, like about that time I really brushed you off when you wanted my autograph. Thanks for being here for me now. I know it must have been tough for you when Jabba died and then Bib Fortuna. Maybe they weren't around
Because
because those guys were a lot buffer than all the Return of the Jedi Gamorreans. Maybe those guys only showed up after the whole Sarlacc pit incident.
Could be.
Pull from the middle. You can choose to adopt a. Oh well, I feel like we've done this one, but we'll do it again. You can choose to adopt one Star Wars creature to be your pet. Which do you pick, and what would you name it? I would have
Yes.
previously said Lothcat, but only if it's one that looks like the one we saw in Mandalorian, that looks closer to the animated version. Because, sorry, Sabine / the creature people on Ahsoka. Sabine's one is kind of ugly. Maybe a bogling. Call him I don't know, Bago.
did you see the picture of the? I mean, you probably did. You probably retweeted it on our account, but the boggling concept art,
Yes.
the weird turtle looking one was like really gross. I was like, no, thank you. It's like an armadillo like shell. It's like really gross. I wouldn't want to touch it.
Um, maybe one of whatever Nyx is. I think they named his species from the upcoming game. Don't know anything about him, but he looks handy. Because there's so many pets in Star Wars that can have like a fun utility too. Like a Vulptex if you ever need to find your way out of a cave.
My wife has recently become, this is going to sound so dumb. She's become obsessed with Vorn skiers.
Oh wow. Not I would have thought any other creature in existence before I thought that one.
It's funny because it's
She
just
reading some old
from
books?
no, like years ago, she's heard me listen to the campaign podcast. They had like a pet Vorn skier on
Oh yeah, I remember
that, and for some reason, when we were watching Ahsoka, she like remembered that, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I want one so bad." And I was like, "What? Why?" It really made me laugh. Not to make fun of her, but it was a funny pull that she like remembered what that
Yeah,
was.
for real. Because they're sort of just like a weird wolf thing, right?
Yeah, with like a scorpion tail, and they use the Force. They're like dark side animals. They've never been in the new canon, have they? I don't
No.
think.
Nope.
Yeah, good. I think they're silly.
I feel like the Purgo.
But I think
the
she just wants
closest
like a
we get
really
to-
smart dog, basically.
Yeah. How about the leveler from High Republic? Some kind of
I would say
that is.
the Charhound.
yeah, which is just a dog that breathes fire and is warm.
And is cool.
Yes. The leveler is sort of also known as the Nameless. It's this strange creature that if you're a Force user and you're near it, you go sort of crazy with like fear, and if it gets you, it turns you into like a husk of dust. It's
Wow.
if you want to deal with Jedi, it's your number one thing.
It's like even worse than Salamiri.
Which are dumb and I'm glad aren't canon. And they said would never be pretty much when Rebels came out, because in Rebels, Thrawn has those like little lizard statues, which are a nod to that. And they said, okay, well, we put these here as a nod to the old character, but this doesn't vibe with our perception and George's perception of how the Force works, because a creature that negates the Force doesn't make sense, because all living things have the Force and are part of the Force. So a living thing that like was a void of Force didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I could see they could easily like justify it by going, "Oh, it like redirects the Force or something."
I mean,
but even then, it's kind of weird.
But the Nameless is sort of similar to that, in that like the Jedi just sort of shut down and like they lose their perception of the Force as like they're just like they're just sort of overwhelmed, and they just sort of have mental breakdowns and just start like fear the worst fears they've ever felt. They haven't said it yet, but I'm almost wondering if the thing just like sucks the metachlorians out of people or something, which would explain why they turn into like, dust.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a brutal thing. It's just.
And they get all your favorite characters.
Luckily, not all. Buryaga.
Charhound is good.
You'd have worth a space slug
over a
giant,
Purgo,
like garbage disposal.
What about
like at least a slug stays where you keep it. It kind of has a doghouse.
That's true.
Purgils are gonna like wander around.
I feel like if you want a garbage disposal, you should have a Sarlacc
or a Dianoga. That would be cool.
Oh,
Sarlacc would be cool.
Famously, Dianogas are disposally. What about Bethany? You wouldn't want a Porg?
Porgs are great. I was just going with the unique one. A Porg, a Loth Cat, a Loth Wolf. All of them.
Is there nothing in Star Wars that is Raven-like? I cannot think.
Um,
There's not
Imperial
that many
Buckethead
bird
is here.
things.
Ahoy, Imperial Buckethead! Welcome to
Hey, welcome.
the stream. I'm painting or saying, Kurt. I already forgot what you're painting. Kraken.
Kraken.
And Bethany's here, and she's painting a pot for a plant. And we're talking about what pet we would want in Star Wars. I don't think there are any Raven type. There's not many like birds besides like
They're
the
usually-
convor.
Yeah.
there's the Ahsoka's bird.
I have a convor right
But that's
here.
more
It's like
owl-like.
Yeah, it's like an owl.
It's like one of the few. Like most flying things seem to be lizard.
Yeah.
Esque.
Ooh. Speaking of lizards, what about a Varactyl Boga, the thing Obi-Wan rides in Revenge of the Sith?
Oh yeah, that'd be fun to ride around on.
That's my Varactyl.
Yeah, the stealthiest creature ever.
Yeah, whenever we watch that, Bethany is always like, "Why is it making so much noise? He's trying to be sneaky, and it's just going."
When you said like a lizard creature, my brain just went to that reel I sent you on Instagram with the chameleon and the little kid.
Oh, that was so good. There was like a little kid with a chameleon on his lap. It must have been some sort of like, thing at kindergarten or whatever where they got to meet animals, or at the zoo or something. Just, I love chameleons. Great. I was like, oh, cool, a chameleon video. And it's just, this kid is like the happiest little boy looking at this creature on his leg. And then it just tongue blasts him right in the mouth.
Oh, no.
Because it's, just like a bullet, the chameleon tongue goes. I don't know if they added that in post, or but there was like a little whip sound effect, and then the kid just goes. All right, I'm gonna pick a new question.
Any other cool animals?
There's a lot of cool animals.
We kind of listed almost all the really good ones, I think. I'm not coming up with any
You wake up
super obvious ones.
on the remote island of Octo. What's the first thing you do? I look around for like the Irish tourism board and be like, and determine whether or not I'm still in this universe. That's number one. If I see fish people, then I go, are they filming more Star Wars? And then when I find out that they are in fact fish people and I am in the Star Wars, then I probably have some kind of like psychological breakdown. Then I need to determine like what is the time period? Is this pre Last Jedi, post Last Jedi? Like what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And then, depending on how that goes, should I influence events? Like if Rey lands, should I go tell her what's up? Or should I keep my distance and hang out with the fish people? So I'd probably just be like, hey, sorry, can you take me to somewhere I'll be safe? I have no skills that can contribute to the resistance, so I don't know. Take me somewhere.
I
Joey,
think
have have so many thoughts.
What?
You have so many thoughts about like what you would do. Like, oh, I would do this and this and this, and I'd be like, you know what? It seems like a nice place to read, and I would hope I had a book with me.
There are books there. Famously, there are books on that island.
The Sacred Jedi Texts.
Yeah,
True.
page turners. They are not though.
The fish people, the nuns, whatever they're called,
Caretakers.
caretakers. Yeah, I don't know, they might have some books.
They party hard. That's for sure.
I think what I would do is go, I guess, I don't know about first thing. I have to take these questions very literally. That's how my brain works. But
That's what I did.
I think I would go to the dark side hole and I would go in there and see the cool, just like
The
have
mirror,
a weird psychedelic experience.
the art
It'd be kind of
exhibit
fun.
in the whole.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever had a mirror like that in your house where you can open two sides and point them into each other like that? It's really fun. I like to
Yeah,
do that.
makes sense.
It would be kind of cool to see Luke's ship too. You know, be like, oh, there it is down there.
Yeah, just take a little tour. But I'd be like, I already like had this tour in Lego Star Wars. Which is creepier? A mechanical droid spider or a fanged ice spider?
The real one for sure.
Yeah. But like anything that scuttles. Horrible.
Okay, well, we got to the bottom of that one.
Not that a robot one isn't gross, but I think the real one's more gross. They're like, I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna vote robot one if it's like a Bomar monk or that thing that attacked Din underneath Mandalore, because the fanged ice spider just annoys me more than it creeps me out. It annoys me in that they can't just like use a design and remember they used it, because they used it for the Kryknas in Star Wars Rebels on the planet Atalon. Famously, there's episodes around them, and they have their whole base. They're a big part of the experience on that base in season 3. And those are based on the Ralph McQuarrie concept art of, I think it was the knobby white spider, supposed to be like a from Dagobah that never was used for the movie. And then in Mandalorian, they're like, "Hey, what if we make this Ralph McQuarrie thing into a Star Wars creature?" Finally, it's like you did that already. Why do you need to do it again as a separate species? Even that's me.
Oh,
That's
I
what
just thought
that
it was
happens
the
to me.
same.
I'm pretty sure it's different. It's like an ice spider. Technically, the live action ones have more legs. The animated ones only had
Oh,
6 legs because it's was hard for the animation team to do more than 6, because that show had a smaller budget than The Mandalorian. Um, so there is a difference in legs, although that might just be a style choice. But I think they're technically different species.
I don't mind it if it is the same species. It's like, okay, they kind of grow in different places sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. If it's the same species, fine, that's fine. But I don't think it is, which is why it bugs me. But it's sort of the same thing with the sentry droids from Rebels, which were clearly inspired by the Dark Troopers from Legends.
Hmm.
And then they're like, "But what if we made Dark Troopers?" I'm like, "You guys already did that. You already lifted from this Legends design, and now you're doing it again." And like, it's sort of like, "Can I copy your homework?" But it's your own homework.
Called self plagiarism.
Yeah, Filoni. Although the Dark Troopers and Sentry Droids are different enough that it's not as egregious as the spiders.
Yeah, I honestly like the sentry droids a lot better.
Yeah, they
They made the Dark Troopers cooler than I would have expected, but I like the sentry droids better.
the Sentry Droids are more Star Warsy to me.
Yeah. As much as I love the Jedi Knight games, uh, the Dark Troopers are a pretty dumb part of them.
I always liked the Battlefront 2 Dark Trooper, which was really nothing like the other ones. It was a guy in a suit with a little lightning gun.
Basically, like sort of a Death Trooper type guy.
Yeah. Okay, okay. I think now that I pushed some really big highlights on her, I
Oh yeah.
think it
I haven't looked over in a while, but that the suit looks very, very different now.
Yeah, it's a little washed out with my lighting here. I'm not sure what. I haven't figured out a good. This might look a little bit more like what it looks like in real life, but no, I'm not going to be able to see what I'm doing. I think I'm going to do one final pass. Just poke the the kneecap and the shoulders with kind of the brightest of this color, which is just sort of a fleshy orange. And then I'll move on to highlighting all the browns, I guess. Not sure what I'm going to do for her skin. There's not going to be too much highlighting that needs to be done because I painted it just with the apothecary white, so now it's just kind of gray and shaded. So I just kind of need to do a little bit of highlighting there, and that's about it. I don't need to touch her hair because I used a contrast paint for the hair. Look pretty good. What are you doing with Kraken?
Well, the only idea I had with him was to kind of keep doing variants of like Bedlam Raider type droids. So
Oh yeah.
I kind of based him on one of the many types of BX droids in the game. So he's kind of white and red and silver. And I'm doing a lot of weathering, which is like my favorite thing. I don't know. We'll see. It's looking okay, I think, now that I'm scuffing it up a lot. I don't really know what to do with the base because I don't know what it's supposed to be that he's standing on because it's like
Yeah, it's just
I don't
sort
know
of
if it
weird.
should be a certain color.
Yeah, I just made it like metal, and then I made the part with the Republic logo a different color. Because I'm like, is this
Yeah.
like a flag? No, it's definitely some kind of metal with the Republic logo stamped onto it.
Yeah.
It's just weird debris, I guess.
How's your flower pot coming, Bethany?
Good. I am starting on the body, so it may or may not look great, but it will have an essence of chopper.
Nice.
Here's one for everybody. If anyone in the chat still following along, you're 9 years old, like Anakin Skywalker. Famously, Anakin is only 9 years old. And a Jedi offers to take you away from home for training. Would you go?
I mean, when you're 9, you don't really know that much.
Yeah.
So I think I would, and maybe I would regret some aspects later.
When I'm 9, I had just seen Phantom Menace probably the year before, and was like, that looks fun. But also, like,
It's basically. Go ahead.
I mean, also at 9 years old, I don't do things without my parents' permission. So it'd be like, Mom, this Jedi wants to take me to training. They're like, you're about to be abducted. There's no such thing as Jedi. This is the stranger danger we've all been warned about.
Anakin does ask permission from
He does.
Shmi.
Isn't Shmi the name of Captain Hook's right-hand man?
Smee. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say the way you described it made me think of it's like sort of a you get recruited to the Jedi after having watched Phantom Menace. It's kind of like a Last Starfighter scenario. They're like, aha, you passed our test. This movie we sent down. You are worthy of joining our ranks.
I mean, I'd be like, can I do things like move my toys without touching them? Like that's my concept of a Jedi at 9 years old.
I mean, I think ultimately I would
I'd
like go with them. There'd
also
probably be a
be,
lot of good things, but
I'd probably also be like, how does this line up with my understanding of Jesus and what the church has taught me? I do recall one of my priests as a child explaining to us how Star Wars was cool
Oh
because
no.
in Return of the Jedi, Luke is basically like his outfit is, supposed to be like a Catholic priest or something. And I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Lines up. Okay, Luke is a priest. Jedi are like priests. Catholic Jedi, cool. Works for me. Childhood.
I feel like,
Which was
I
probably
mean,
good that my parents heard a priest say Star Wars was cool.
we got him. I think there'd be a lot that would be good about learning Jedi stuff, even though they're not perfect. Um,
I mean, most of
I
it, like, you'd learn fitness. I'd get in shape, probably.
Yeah,
I'd,
be cool to have a sword.
yeah, get better, like, figure out better ways to live with, like, Eastern philosophies, which is most of what the Jedi is.
Yeah,
I
I'm kind of
mean, they're
assuming.
not very great at the whole mental health thing,
Yeah,
but I feel like when I was 9, I did not have the whole like indecisiveness that I have now. So maybe I would go. But also, I was just like, I've always been too much of a goody, like, have to be the good one. So
Well,
I'd have to get permission.
that's sort of like the Jedi's whole deal, though. Do you think your parents would have been like, yeah, all right?
Maybe. But
yeah, I
also,
think
like, they're
like
not the greatest with like, teaching about mental health and taking care of yourself. There's like, push it
Well,
down.
9-year-old Bethany could have been at the forefront of that change.
yeah,
9-year-old Bethany did not know better.
that's the type of stuff I feel like I would not know until I got there. Well, and lived there for like a long time. You'd sort of start to see through it, maybe. But I think kind of similar for me, I would be like, well, these are the good guys, and I'm supposed to go, right? So like I will go because that's what like I'm kind of being expected to do in this scenario. And they would maybe become disillusioned about aspects, but I'm sure I do think there would be a lot that would be good too, even though some parts would be bad.
As long as you get a cool master. I'm reading Rise of the Red Blade right now, and the main character's master really sucks.
Dang.
Which might be part of why she. It's not really a spoiler because it's the cover of the book. Becomes an inquisitor.
Hmm.
It's interesting. I didn't expect so much of the book to happen pre Order 66 because it's about this Padawan who becomes a Jedi Knight and gets kind of thrust into the Clone Wars, and a lot of the other Jedi are sort of skeptical and wary of her because she's not very good at controlling her emotions and stuff, and her master kind of sucks. And it's about her, the whole deal, and how she feels about the Jedi, and how she reacts when Order 66 finally happens.
Well, yeah, I think for me, the Clone Wars would end up being the hardest part of it. Like I'm assuming,
Oh, are
kind
you,
of assuming that you're 9 when Anakin is 9, and you're like at the same
okay,
age.
okay. Yep, that makes sense.
Just to, I know they didn't really say that, but just to, I think that's kind of an interesting way to frame it. So going through the like, if it was normal Jedi times or something, and it was like, yeah, you can just kind of be this priest guy here or whatever, and like I could work in the library. I'm sure that would all be fine. Uh, Being there in the Clone Wars, and they're like, okay, you have to go to war. One, I mean, I don't think I would be a good warrior, but two, that would obviously be very stressful.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the
I
other
think that
part of
would go
that.
very badly.
In Rise of the Red Blade, her and her master, their whole deal is just kind of running around finding old Jedi artifacts to put in the library. And then the war starts, and she's like really good at killing, and it like makes her feel like better than she
Mm.
ever felt. She's like,
Hmm.
I would like to do a war, please. And the other Jedi are like, oh, that's red flags. Hold on. Yeah, like even with my 9-year-old knowledge, not knowing what, having only seen the originals and uh, Phantom Menace, like I would still know that, well, the Jedi go away at some point. I don't want to be, so I gotta have a plan. I gotta learn as much as I can and then dip. Maybe I'll go to Tatooine and meet up with Obi-Wan because I know he shows up there later.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, if you were smart enough to like leave at some point and basically be like a pull like a non-evil Dooku and be like, "Sorry guys, I'm gonna go," and Yoda was just like, "Well, okay, but keep your lightsaber," and you could just like, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
mean,
they
I
take
do have
it's
to
not like
assume.
it's not like a turn in your badge and your gun kind of thing when you leave the order. You get to keep your lightsaber.
Yeah, apparently not. I mean, I
No,
think,
I would totally like an Ahsoka. Hopefully
yeah.
not spurned and like, accused of domestic terrorism first, but
I mean, if you start at 9, much like Ahsoka, Dooku, Anakin, all of these people we see leave the order, you're probably pretty in it until something radically shakes your worldview. Because, 9-year-old me had a different worldview than current me, so probably would be less skeptical of the Jedi Order, much like most children.
Yeah, I mean, you would be very indoctrinated. You wouldn't have the outside view that we have in real life.
Yeah.
It would be a lot harder. You'd want to justify everything. I also think
yeah.
if you did leave, I think it would be really hard to be a lone Jedi and like not have even though the Jedi Council is often pretty bad with their advice that we see like in the movies and stuff. Like having some advice would be better than going it alone and being when you do start to feel the dark side, it would be really hard on your own to be like, oh shoot, not having kind of a type of support network that actually
Yeah, you
knows
need
about Force
to.
stuff.
That's why you need a good
Unless you found some
droid.
other group.
You need a good droid. Or, like, you have to, like, I feel like the last he would never do it, but Obi-Wan, like, if he ever quit, he's got friends all over the place. He's got Satine and he's got Dex. He's got all sorts of non-Jedi friends he could just hang out with.
Yeah, I feel like the
I
ones
feel like
we
that's yeah.
see are kind of main characters who are like, they struggle a little, but they figure it out on their own. And I feel like a lot of Jedi it'd be tough on your own. Go ahead.
No, I feel like you need to have people outside of the Jedi Order though to keep you kind of balanced,
That's sort of
maybe.
Yeah.
what they're not good episodes, I don't think, but in the Clone Wars, like the finalish seasons with the Martez sisters, um, they they were like the Jedi suck for these reasons, and there's all these people in it in different things where they view the Jedi with disdain because they live in their like ivory tower above all the poor people, and like people like Ahsoka like never got that perspective until they met people who weren't Jedi. Where
For
they're like,
sure.
oh, yeah, that's you make good points.
Yeah, it's like when you go to college or leave home for the first time and you're like, oh, different viewpoints. That's a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need to. The Jedi need to have what's it called, a Rumspringa, whatever the Amish do, where you like turn 17 or 18, you get a year where you don't have to live this lifestyle. You can go live with the English, the rest of society. You can do whatever you want to do. Then after that year, you decide: do you want to come back and be Amish forever, or do you want to stick with you know, the rest of the world and like abandon grew up. Jedi need to do that. So, okay, right before you become a knight, you get a year on your own. Here's 20,000 credits. Just go out there, baby. Live it up. And I feel like most of them maybe wouldn't. Some of them wouldn't come back. They'd be like, "Oh, dang, I can. This is cool. I have powers. I could make a lot of money." A lot of them would come back pregnant, probably.
Man, there was some whole movie I don't remember very well now about an Amish guy, like it's a comedy, Amish guy who like becomes a professional bowler. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope. The only movie
I
about
can't think of the
Amish
name
people
of
I
it.
know is Witness with Harrison Ford. Which I don't remember anything about other than he's in witness protection with the Amish, and there's a scene where they're riding their buggy and some
Oh
people insult
yeah.
them, and he goes and he punches a guy. No, he gets up like he's gonna beat these guys up because they were insulting these Amish people. And the guy goes, "It's not our way," and he looks at him and goes, "But it's my way," and he goes and he beats him up. That's all I remember about that.
Sounds familiar.
All right, here's a wall of text question. In Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, C-3PO's mind is wiped to uncover a vital clue. Would you make the same choice if you were in a similar high-stakes conflict? What type of greater good would compel you to make such a sacrifice? Wow,
No.
that's a heavy question.
Well, I
It
mean,
wouldn't be
if
to
my
translate a dumb
knowledge was
map.
backed up, yeah.
I would need more information. I feel like he made that choice a bit too rashly. If it was for the same stakes, oh hey, let's stop the worst evil ever from rearing its head again. Sure, wipe my brain for that. But I need a little bit more information on the process because it's I don't trust this little hey guy. I don't think you guys thought this through. I think the whole scenario here is a bit far fetched with the untranslatable text. Color me skeptical. Can't we just go find a scholar who's willing to? Wait, no. They lost the knife. The only way they could access that was in his head.
But like
Find a better
obviously
droid smith.
the information obviously exists somewhere for them to program it into these droids in the first place. Why are they still downloading that part of the
Yeah, so
programming?
they have the capability of reading Sith. They just don't
It's
have the
illegal.
It's like if you put it in a Google Translate, the program is working behind the screens. It just cannot show you the user interface that shows you the text. That's basically what it is. It's translating it. It just won't tell you the translation. So why even bother translating it in the first place? So, maybe find a droid smith who can just uh, override that. Like, how is that the most hard coded, like, programming rule? Like the three laws of robotics, or like, don't translate Sith. Also, like, when did that law get put into place? Because has that been around for like forever? And why was Sith so like the only like parallel I can think of is like post World War II, the Soviet Union and like Germany and stuff, like it's illegal to display swastikas and Nazi stuff. That makes sense. If we apply that to the old Republic, was like propaganda written in Sith that much more effective? Like why would you need to ban an entire language?
I feel like it
Yeah.
would be good to be able to translate it just in case someone's sending secret messages. You could be like, oh, I can figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah, yeah. If some Sith loyalists crop their heads up and they're passing notes, you want to be able to know what they're saying. So yeah, I would be like, you know what? This premise is bullshit. Don't wipe my brain.
Especially since everyone was so rude to him all the time.
Right? And he did make like, he was like, yeah, I will literally die to get this done. And they're like, okay, 3PO. Like, show
No
some
one likes you
respect.
anyways.
I mean, he is annoying, but still, he is comic relief.
I it's tough because I like 3PO in some of the movies.
I think Rise
You
of
know,
Skywalker is his best movie as a character.
you you see him being really essential to the plan
Well, and
in a
he's
great
like
way.
really genuinely funny in that movie when they like I forget, he says something, they all turn to look at him and he just looks behind as if they weren't all like rolling their eyes at him. um like
For
he's
me personally, go ahead.
no, he's like that's his best movie. He's really funny in that and did like, you know, logic aside, it was nice and good to see, oh, this character who's been around since the beginning is sacrificing himself for everybody. And then they just undermine that stakes. They go, he's fine. We had a backup. Like, well, how about he just dies? That's sad. That's hardcore.
I really like him in A New Hope. I find him very funny when he's just like very
He's really rude
kind
to
of
R2.
sarcastic. Yeah, but I like it. I think it's funnier than when he's trying to be funny for me because he's just kind of a little bit of a dick. I also really like him in Return of the Jedi because it's like I know it's kind of like a weird trope a lot of the times, but it's fun for him to be like again, he's like very essential to the mission in a fun way because it's like we need someone who can translate. This is actually like very important. And like they would not have won if they hadn't got the Ewoks on their side. They would have been super screwed,
Right.
right? So it's
He's so
like
good
he's like
in
very
that too
essential.
because he's like so like it's I'm not going to like it wouldn't be proper to like lie to these guys or like
Right? Yeah.
stuff. And then he like it clearly like his position sort of goes to his head with them. I really like 3PO and the Ewoks stuff. I think we can all agree that Tag of the Clones is his worst movie.
Oh God. His puns are so they make me so mad. If it weren't
I mean,
for
the
that,
best
I would like
puns
the
should
movie a lot
instill
more.
anger. You're not punning hard enough if it doesn't make someone mad.
It's just like so bad. And the whole Battle of Geonosis, they keep cutting back to him, and it's just like, please don't. And they're like, nope, we thought of another one. We thought of another one. Here it is. It's like, please, just.
Phantom Menace was fine. He's not really much in Revenge of the Sith. He's just there
Yeah.
because he kind of needs to be. New Hope is good. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is great because he's
Yeah.
sort of also essential there, but he's also I don't know if it's not as good as the other two because it's funny to me.
They're
Well, it's
mostly
also
mad at him.
it's kind of cute too where he just hears an R2 unit of which there are probably billions in the galaxy and he goes, "Is that R2? I miss him. I'm going to go
Yeah.
into this closet."
And again, you get some.
He's really
He
snooty in that one
razzes
too.
R2 a little bit in fun ways. Like, um, it's kind of a mix, you know. On Hoth, he's kind of like he's trying to be kind of like really smart, but at the same time, you can tell he can tell when people are worried about their friends. So he's like, oh well, you know, sometimes R2 isn't that good calculation. So he's Luke's probably fine or whatever, right? I like
Yeah.
that. That's like some nice humanity. I also like seeing him like it feels more like A New Hope when he's being carried on Chewie's back and he's just like R2 stop messing up.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you to plug into a power socket, stuff like
it's
that. Like,
yeah, like he's like clearly been missing R2 this whole time, and as soon as they're reunited, he's just like insulting him again.
yeah,
He's like, "Why are you fixing the ship? I'm over here. You need to fix me."
right. Yeah, I like that.
Um, Rogue One, not his best moment. Mostly because it makes weird logistical sense in Rogue One. So he's on the ground when they're going to Scarif, and they go, "They're going to Scarif," but he's supposed to be on the Tantive 4, which is already taken off because it's inside the profundity,
Right.
which and because it like needed repairs.
And
Uh,
it makes some of his A New Hope dialogue a little weird, where he's like, uh, it's kind of an interesting mix in A New Hope because he's like, oh yeah, we've been in like lots of battles with the rebellion or whatever, but he's also like, who's the special guest we have on board? I don't know, some lady. I don't know who that is. And it's like, I
I
don't know, kind of mixed
it's sort
messages
of
when he's
like
been put into every other movie.
yeah, like I don't know if he's in on because R2 is clearly like playing Luke, but I don't know if 3PO is playing Luke. R2's like
Right.
this
Yeah.
dumb farm boy. I'm just gonna use him to get to Obi-Wan.
I love that C3PO is just like, well, this kid's our new owner. Put a
Yeah.
restraining bolt on us, so hey, he gave me an oil bath. It's not so bad. I'll go be a farmer, I guess. It's my lot in life.
It seemed like he was pretty excited to not be in the rebellion anymore.
Yeah.
Makes sense because he's not a not an action boy. Uh, Force Awakens, I guess he's fine. I remember everyone laughing at the red arm thing. I think it was very 3PO to like interrupt Han and Leia's first reunion in forever.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked that whole part. People kind of make fun of the red arm thing. I just don't get memes sometimes, but
I don't know
I
if
liked it in the movie. You know, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny.
he didn't really do anything else in that movie other than some like plot exposition and like, oh, R2's been depressed in a corner ever since Luke left. Which, why would they just throw a tarp on him? Like, wouldn't he be in like
Letting him
Leia's?
take a nap.
Well, wouldn't he be in like Leia's quarters or something? Like he was just in the corner with some trash with a tarp.
It's like putting a curtain over a bird cage, right? You're like, okay, he's just trying to sleep.
No, but he was in like sleep mode, and they were like, "I get he's not waking up. Should we throw him away?" And they're like, "No, he's R2D2. Like, okay, we'll put a rag on him so he doesn't get dusty."
They're using him as like an end table. Like put his Jabba the Hutt drink here. Like maybe they still had that somewhere. Like put those drink trays on top of him and use him as a little table.
What does 3PO do in Last Jedi? He just sort of frets about their mutiny, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Do they even let him in? Isn't there something where he's like, why would we tell 3PO? I forget.
I think he says it's against my programming to be partial to a mutiny, or to be like a party
Yeah.
to a mutiny.
He kind of just hangs out with Leia on crate, stuff like that.
You need to watch Droids. Get the real, the unauthorized
For
biography.
true fans only.
It's on Disney Plus. I watched like the first episode. It's kind of like fun. There's like some fun designs where you're like, well, that's strange.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots of some of the like ships and droids and stuff that look really cool. I know they go to a planet that's like all droids or something.
I think that's where like R2
The
like falls in love.
oh, wow. I was gonna say like the Gladiator class Star Destroyer. I think looks really cool, and I think that's from that show, right?
Oh yeah,
It's like the main bad guy, Admiral Screed. I
Screed.
feel like old cartoons are very hard to watch.
They absolutely are, because unlike modern cartoons, they were not made with the intent that maybe adults are also watching this. They're just low quality garbage to sell toys.
Yeah.
I've tried watching some of the Ewoks and some of the droids and haven't made it very far. Okay, I think I did highlights on the leather parts, so I have to do her skin, and then I think I need to do something on the rifle on her back to spice it up. I might just hit it with some metallic because can you? I don't know if you can tell, like on her boot and on that rifle, it's all like grainy the way the primer went on, and I can tell I can't like paint it thick enough to hide that.
I can't really tell on camera, but yeah, it might show up in a photo. On the boot, it could kind of look like dirt, you know. She's been walking in dirt or something.
Let's pump to
Or
focus.
rust on her gun.
Where's my focus? Eh. I just use contrast for the gun. Use contrast for the hair, which I think turned out fine. I need to color this little antenna on her head too.
The hair looks good. I assume the antenna is just going to be metal, right? That's what.
I think it's supposed to just be metal.
She says like a metal thing sticking out of her head.
Yeah, it's sort of like a dark.
It's kind of
gray.
cool in a Star Wars way.
Yeah, I think I might make it metallic just so it stands out and people go, "Oh, that's a thing." I feel like a lot of people don't remember that's a thing. Trying to decide if I want to give her when she's in her black outfit in the Clone Wars, she has like a black stripe across her eyes that I think looks kind of cool.
Oh yeah. Aurra Singh is so funny though. Like I just that classic Star Wars thing of like here's a cool character we came up with. I bet people will buy this action figure. And like I distinctly remember every time I went to Walden Books, there was a giant Aurra Singh action figure or doll or whatever, like on the shelf, and it looked so cool. She's like basically not even the movie, even more so than like Phasma or something, right? Or Boba Fett. She's like
Wait, she's in a
barely
passing
in a
shot.
frame.
Like she's not even in a fight. She's just
Yeah.
somebody watching the pod race.
And the way they marketed it, they make it seem like she's going to be like, you know, an important bad guy, like the next Boba Fett or something. Everybody's got to get the Aurra Singh action figure. But she does look cool. I mean, credit where credit's due. Cool
I'm
design.
glad I never really read anything in her legends because she's apparently like force sensitive and like has a lightsaber.
Oh yeah, okay.
So happy that I'd never read any of that because that's silly.
Do we know? Did she like die in the Clone Wars or anything? Have we seen that? Or is she
Man.
alive somewhere still?
Kurt.
What?
What are we gonna do
What?
with you? I thought you
Is she
liked
alive
Solo,
or
a
not?
Star Wars story. I gasped when we saw Solo in a theater, and Lando goes, "Tobias Beckett, you're the man who killed Aurra Singh."
Oh yeah, God, I forgot. You're right.
And then he's like, "No, the Fall did." And you're like, "Hoo, shut up." I really like Tobias. I want him in. I also love that his name is Tobias. What a dorky real life name. But he's cool.
Here's my headcanon. She didn't die. She faked her death. And she was his girlfriend. They faked it together. He was in on it.
Oh, he was cheating on Val.
And she's gonna Arsing is gonna come back in Book of Boba Fett season 2.
She
Also, Val didn't die either. She faked her death because she wanted to break up with Tobias.
number 2 behind Ventress. Val is character who should be unkilled.
Yes.
Because she was cool and it was dumb that she just was like, I'm dead. It was a little better in the book. There was a lot of parts in the novel that made some of the weird writing in that movie better. If I remember right in the book, when the probes show up, they're coming for them, and she realizes either I distract them or the probes are going to kill all the people on the train because they don't see him coming. And so basically, she, rather than just being like, I guess they got me, she like sort of sacrificed herself for them by just drawing the fire of all the probes, which is a little better
I
than her
guess.
just going, oh, okay, I give up.
It just would have been so easy for them to be like, oh, she's badly hurt. She has to go to the doctor. She can't be in the rest of the mission, but she is still alive. You know? Same
Yeah.
with Rio. I thought Rio was fun. I'm remembering his name right.
Yeah. Last name De Janeiro. I think his last name is Durant.
Sounds right.
Ooh, the pot is ready.
Be careful.
Wait, what am I supposed to touch?
Top and bottom. You got
I
You
hear
need
an
to-
echo.
The echo is coming through because you came too close to my microphone.
I hear a
Okay,
kitty.
here. It's because it's close to. It's almost. It's an hour and 10 minutes until he gets some more food, so he must complain about it. Okay, you ready for the pot?
Yeah.
This is the new cactus pot. I am very excited about this pot. Are you going to plant that little cactus in it? Did you plant the little saucer?
The tosser.
The saucer. Isn't it supposed to sit on a thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Wow.
decide what to do with that.
I don't know, just paint it the
That's
same
really
color.
cool.
Put a little cactus in it.
Maybe
I
a
didn't
nice
realize-
orange.
I didn't realize you were going to add all the details like the leg and all the chest stuff. I assumed you were just kind of painting it just solid white, but that looks really good.
It was a lot more difficult than I expected.
That's really cool.
And the cactus you got is certified real, right? Unlike that other one.
Yes. That one is real too. I'm 90% sure.
Bethany won a cactus at an event, and it just seems so fake to me. But I know you bought these from like the plant store.
Yes.
But the one she won, just like the spines just look like plastic. They feel like plastic. And you can't like wait for it to grow because it takes, forever for them to change size. I'm not convinced it's real. Are you gonna
So
paint
now
another
what
pot?
to
Don't
do
you
with the
have
saucer?
a second pot as well?
Yeah, I have to decide what to do with that one. But I need to decide what to do with the saucer first.
Paint it Hera colors. Make it kind of a bright green with the little noodly symbols.
That works.
Everyone in the chat sound off what Bethany should paint the other pot. I think we've lost the chat.
I see the number going up and down a little bit. People not really
We've had 20
sticking around, though.
views.
I don't know. That doesn't seem bad to me.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Did we? I was gonna paint last night, but we got distracted because finally playing through, watching Bethany play through Hogwarts Legacy, which is, I was impressed by just how dang pretty that game is. It's also weird
Oh
because
yeah.
it's like really, it looks, everything looks really good, and every little corner and nook in the castle is just crammed with weird little details and like, stuff on the walls and desks and stuff. And then like the cats, there's cats that wander around that you can pet. They just look like they were a digital file imported from a completely different, worse looking game. It's so weird, but it's seems pretty cool. And then after we did that, I was playing some more Starfield, and then I didn't get around to painting. I was trying to modify my ship today because I got a ship. I found there was a rumor of some old bounty hunter called the Mantis, and I went to her lair.
Mm,
There are all these pirates dying and trying to get in, and I killed them all. And basically, you find out that she was trying to
a
like
test.
basically, but it was for her son, who she wanted to take up the mantle. But her son also died, and so you get through it, and you can just take her ship and her like cool spacesuit. And so now I
Okay.
have this cool new ship that has like a big armory in it, but I don't need an armory. So I was trying to, and it doesn't have as much cargo as my other ships, but it's cargo space, but it's better than all my other ships in every other way. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and modify it, change the colors, swap out the armory for like some kind of like something my crew can use. And then I did it all, and I was really pleased with how I modified the ship, figuring out like the ship maker and stuff. And then it turned out like I didn't have enough money for that because I forgot I was low on
Oh.
funds because I burned all my money helping some colonists get a grav drive for their ship because the corporation didn't kill him because I was a nice guy and now I don't have any money. So then I was like, oh, I guess I won't upgrade this ship right now. But the now that I've got a taste for the shipbuilding, I need to get money so I can do more of it because it's really cool. Because it is, I wasn't sure before they announced the game if it would just be sort of the exterior look of your ship that changes when you build it, but no, it's the interior too. So there's whatever you do with your ship, it's going to affect like how you have to walk around inside it and all of that stuff, which is cool because you can fill it with different like modules. My ship, I before I it was gonna have two whole bathrooms in my ship before I had to undo all of it. I thought that I felt pretty fancy. Have a two bed, two bath spaceship. Because you can go pretty wild with the designs and stuff. It just has to like meet certain minimum requirements to be considered like flight worthy. I need to have cargo to hold all my resources, but I also need maneuverability, shields, and guns because I keep getting my ass kicked in space fights. But it is very
The
fun
ship.
when you can, because I got a skill that lets me sort of Fallout style target specific parts of enemy ships. So
Oh yeah.
if you take out the engines and there's no other enemies around, you can then board the enemy ship. That's how I got one of my ships because they attacked me. I killed all their friend ships and then took out their engines and boarded them and killed all of the people on board. And I'm like, well, I guess this ship's mine now. And it's really fun. You can do like piracy like that. I haven't done that yet because I'm not a bad person yet. If it's anything like Skyrim, I will become a terrible person by the end of my playthrough. But you can just like hail ships you see and like say, "Hey, I'm gonna come board you. You can do this the easy way or the hard way, and just like be a space pirate." I also joined a gang. I joined a gang specifically to like contribute to the efforts to destroy this other worse gang. The ship stuff is very cool. I've been liking
Yeah,
that.
the shipbuilding seems like the most interesting part to me.
Yeah, there's so much. I like the combat because the physics are funny, especially in low gravity fights where like the dead bodies will just, kind of bounce and go for quite a ways. Or
Mhm.
if like someone's running away from you and you shoot them and they just kind of keep gliding because of their momentum. But the space stuff is I like the ship stuff a lot. I just need money to upgrade my ship and start making a cool ship of my own. Because my guys was originally going to be some kind of Han Solo type guy. I picked Space Scoundrel. I picked like a neon street rat from like the grew up on the streets of some cyberpunk slum. Wanted, extrovert, and so I have like piloting and pistols skills. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna be a Han Solo, but I've ended up being a better person than I thought I was gonna be.
I'm really interested to see you play Legacy because you're gonna go full dark arts, I feel like.
I think I am because I'll have watched you play it as a nice person. So I'm like, well, now let's see the other way. Because most dialogue options it gives you are either nice or with a few that look like they're pretty mean. But also, I know you can get like the killing curse in that game, so I think it would be fun to see just how ridiculous it lets you get with that.
Just go around killing all the teachers.
Goodness.
You can do
I
that
wonder
in
who you
the
are able
the
to.
the Lego games. You can just indiscriminately murder people in the Lego Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious about because in Starfield I'm being a good person, but in Skyrim I ended up becoming a just probably the worst person in the world because of how little the game made me care about anything.
Hmm.
And so far, the characters in Starfield aren't doing too much for me in the way of making me care about their well-being or how they well I sort of care how they feel because since I'm an extrovert, I picked that trait. I get a bonus if there's like if I have my followers with me, so I don't benefit by like going solo. And since I always have people with me, if I do something, it'll pop up in this thing that says Sarah disliked that. I'm like, oh man. But
Hmm.
maybe I need to stop caring because I mean I did join a gang. I like stealing things. I haven't done any like straight up murder. I do, however, neglect to de-escalate certain situations where maybe I could have tried a little harder.
Hmm.
Didn't you do straight up murder yesterday when I watched you?
Um, well, that was I saved my game, so I wasn't intending to live with those consequences
So you only
because
murder when you're not getting consequences for it.
yeah, it's called save scumming. I wanted to see if the CEO of the luxury resort would die, and turns out he's like an unkillable NPC, at least at this point, because the colony ship that left Earth 200 years ago shows up in their orbit, and they're like, okay, we've thought it over. We can make them our slaves. You can go make them go away, wink, wink, kill them, or you can out of pocket pay for their grav drive. I'm like, well, I'm not going to let them be slaves to your corporation. I'm not going to kill them, so I guess I have to go out of pocket buy a grav drive for them. And I'm like, I'm going to come back and kill all you guys later because I don't like you. So maybe now that that quest is over, I can go back and kill that CEO and he'll be dead for real. I did. There was like a guy who had like a loan shark after him, and I needed information, but he wouldn't tell me until I helped him with his debt. So I went to the loan shark, and I'm like, "You need to clear this guy's debt." And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay," and then I just shot at him and all of his people. I could have. I'm like, "No one's gonna miss you, buddy. You're just a loan shark, and you're scum." And you, he was lipping off to me, so I'm like, "Okay." You get to be the first one to try out my new Space 6 shooter. it's weird how it's very fun, and there's so many parts of that game that just make me roll my eyes. Like, oh, you want to explore a planet? It's a lot of nothing, and if you want to scan stuff, you want to scan a plant, scan 50 different of the same plant. Like, no, how about I don't do that? It's a waste of my goddamn time. But then other stuff like the gunplay and the ship stuff, and so far the main story and a lot of the that sort of stuff, like the bespoke pre-built environments, I find really engaging and interesting. And then a lot of like the sort of auto-generated planets for exploring tend to I find pretty boring. And then I found a ship. So in this universe, one of the other issues I have with the game is just humans. Okay, no aliens. There are alien creatures like wildlife and stuff, but there's no like intelligent species, which I find boring. And then as part of the main story, you're figuring out there's all these kind of like weird artifacts and powers that have this sort of mystical implication for the state of the universe. These mysterious people show up on a ship and like warn you off of it. So at this point in the story, me and my colleagues are trying to figure out, are those non-human intelligent life? Is it like time travelers? Is it interdimensional? Like, what is that? So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm excited to see where this goes. And I found one of their ships crashed on a planet I was exploring. And when I go to the door, it just says inaccessible because obviously I'm not far enough in the story to like get to know anything about these people. I'm like, well, don't put it in my path that I'm exploring if you don't want to let me explore it. And then, of course, you know, the character I'm with says nothing about it. Like, even though in other conversations we talk about how this is the most amazing thing and we're not going to stop our search just because they're warning us. It's like so much of like the contextual dialogue I would expect just isn't there. Like, I took one of my followers to uh, what's left of London. There's like a because all of Earth is just a big desert, pretty much, and there's a few landmarks you can visit. And I'm like, okay, cool. Got anything to say about London? Nope, guess not. And that's why I turned into a monster when I played Skyrim over a decade ago because there's nothing about the characters or that made me care to be a good person.
Yeah, I
Unlike
know what you mean.
unlike, you know, games like Mass Effect and stuff where like you have these characters and you're like, I will die for you. And then in these games it's like it's not about the that, I guess, which makes sense. It's a different kind of game, but I was hoping maybe they tried
Mm-hmm.
because it is such a. I'm despite that I am still, you know, it's a blast and there's so many things you can be doing, and there's you know weird technical issues or weird things where I'm like, how is this still a thing in 2023? Didn't we figure this out? But it's cool. If you ever wanted to try it, I can hook you up with the PC Game Pass trial. I gave one to John. He's been playing it because it just gives me codes to give out to people. John apparently picked when you make your character, you can pick um, one of your traits can be what's it called? You get like a fan. You have it's called hero worship, and you get like a fanboy who will meet you when you land, and like I think you can maybe invite him to just live on your ship. You just have like a fanboy, and he's obnoxious, but he can give you gifts and stuff, which sounds really funny. You can have one that just says you have parents,
Mm-hmm.
and like they live on a planet, and you can visit them and like fill them in on your adventures and stuff.
Yeah, I think that aspect is kind of cool. That's the type of background stuff they would never want to bother with in most games because they're like, well, it's too annoying for you to have parents or
Yeah,
a past. You know, you have amnesia and you have no family. So like that aspect sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, there's a lot of like as far as like role playing and getting into your own character, there's so much there for you to like get into. And all of those things, give you different dialogue choices. Like when I'm doing missions on Neon, I get dialogue choices that reference the fact that that's where I grew up. So my character has more unique things to say about these situations and stuff.
Hmm.
And different skills give you different dialogue options. It's just the main my friends, my colleagues in Constellation are just so far not that interesting. It is cool that the main organization you're kind of pulled into, they're just like a 12-person group dedicated to exploring because most of humanity's kind of done exploring at this point. They're like, well, we've got all these planets. We're good. Does Aura sing wear lipstick? That one, she's got
Hmm.
black lips. This one looks like her lips are just. I think I might need to put some like
Slightly.
thinned Nuln oil into her eye sockets.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like she probably has very like what would be the word? Just dark bags under her eyes, probably to show that she's
Yeah,
evil.
yeah. I'm looking at like a photo from Phantom Menace, and she's. I think I just need to put a little bit of Nuln oil on her lips and in her eye holes. Oh, I need to highlight her gun strap, and then I think she's done. Just put a little highlight on this strap, and then I think she's good to go. Aside from the base, never know what to do with the bases on these guys.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Trying to
I
do each one a little different, like slightly different colors and
yeah.
different weathering and stuff, but they're kind of mostly the same.
Sometimes I try and make like a squad match. Like all of my
Yeah.
Kenobi and the 212th all have the same base, and like Anakin and the 501st all have the same base. So maybe I'll make her sort of match Cad Bane, but I don't know.
I think the bases I've liked the best have been when people have tried really kind of weird colors. And it's like, oh, that's actually really neat. Like a purple metal makes it really pop or something, Stuff like that.
Maybe I mean, she's orange. Purple goes well with orange. So maybe if I
Well,
just mix a what?
they're not exact opposites on the color wheel, but I mean, if you like them, that's the important thing.
Well, if she were standing on,
Blue's
because
the pure opposite.
yeah, I don't want a blue
I
metal
think purple
here.
could look, and there's a lot of different shades too.
Yeah, and she's on one of these bases that has these little Star Wars vents.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been not all of them, but I have been putting some sort of like glow. Like on Cad Bane, I just made it glowing blue. He's he's blue. I don't know if that'll work with her though.
Hmm. One thing I like about the bases is kind of being like, it doesn't have to be that clean or good looking. You can just kind of like be really sloppy, and even having like pools of wash and stuff actually like looks kind of cool. It makes it look just dirty in a fun Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars way. So it's like, yeah, just like throw stuff on and see.
Yeah. Okay. I think just edge highlight the gun I like this model.
Yeah, I think it's one of their better sculpts, in my
I
opinion.
am excited to paint this guy, the Deveronian.
And
Get
do you
to
think
paint
you'll
him
do
red.
him just red skin?
Yeah, I like painting red. Just got to decide what to paint the rest of them. Like, should his cape be like some kind of like flag? No, it's not shaped well enough for me to put like some kind of logo on it. Okay, let's see if I can configure video. There we go. I'm gonna get the focus up again so we can see. I'm all done except for the base. Ooh, you can get this focus real tight.
I think your artisting looks really good. I really like how the highlights turned out on her I don't know, her jumpsuit or whatever you want to call it. Like it really pops.
This is like way too close. Now you can see all the gross brush strokes that you can only see when you look really close. Painted a butt. Butts are like my favorite thing to paint because they're such like a great spot to just like really do your highlights.
Sounds like you need
The
to get some Kingdom Death stuff then.
no.
They're all like just like the most massive thighs. It's like their house style.
That's my focus. I think the skin turned out good, but it's hard to. It's getting washed out by my light. Okay. Do I use a contrast paint for the base? Do I use a purple contrast paint for the base? My options are purple,
Hmm.
pink, gray. I think with Cad Bane, I painted it gray and then I mixed some blue into the gray and did a dry brush over it. So it was like
Mm.
a hint of blue in the concrete. Hmm. Kind of want to never finalized a mini on this stream before because I always start, but I picked up this one midway. So what do we do? Do you have any thoughts, Bethany? How should I paint the base?
Hmm. I don't know.
What goes with the woman who has pure white skin and an orange jumpsuit? I feel like it's either just gonna be gray or purple.
I mean,
Purple
I don't
sounds
mind the
good.
purple.
All right, I'll try. Should it be purple purple? Should I mix it in with some metallic? Should it be like
Ooh, with
Oh,
some metallic
purple
might be cool.
metallic.
let's
Yeah.
mix some of this alien purple into this gunmetal I already have. Ooh, the saucer for my pot has arrived.
It is Hera inspired.
This is what Hera would look like if you squashed her. And the completed. Yay, now I have. Should I grow this cactus on my shelf with
That's
the rest of my
cool.
chopper stuff, or should I put it by the other plant? In the other pot you painted, the Tron pot.
It should get some light. So
Yeah.
It's a really good shade of green. And I like the Leku pattern on there a lot.
Better
It's
than
really
the
cool.
Ahsoka show Leku pattern.
It's a little too faint in Ahsoka. You can't see it very well.
Yeah, it's like they're
Yeah, that's
ashamed of
my
it.
issue too.
It's like they're like, oh, if they see this, then they're gonna have to like. If they haven't seen Rebels, they won't understand.
Maybe it gets more faint as you grow old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or sad. Are they natural or are they tattoos? I don't know if we've seen. I think she has them as a child, so they're probably natural. I don't think they're tattooing their children. There is a speaking of Twi'leks in the book I'm reading. There's a like a black Twi'lek. Which I don't know if we've seen before.
Hmm.
And it was kind of cool because he talks about at one point in the book, his teeth have been filed because males on Ryloth do that. So because he grew up as a Jedi, he never did, and then he like had to like embed undercover on Ryloth, so he had to like
Oh.
file his teeth into points to fit in. Okay, this find a bigger brush. This metallic purple is kind of cool. I'll just go over it with a purple wash when I'm done, and then maybe some kind of dry brush. Question is, do I put some kind of treatment in these little vents? To make it look like they're glowing. I do have some water effects that I haven't used since I made Holiday Special Boba Fett. Maybe I could fill these little vents up with like some kind of so it looks like there's some kind of like sludge in them.
Hmm. Yeah, because like if it's outside, they could fill with rainwater and stuff or other sludge.
I don't know what kind of weird planet
Sounds
she's
fun.
on. I mean, it's either that or just leave them alone, or just do what I do on some of them and try and make it look like there's some kind of glow coming from it.
I don't know. I think it's fun to try something different. See how it goes. Well, for my part here, I think I finished Kraken other than putting the black on the rim. I think whatever mess I have on the base looks good enough, and I think the base colors and weathering are good enough, unless I'm forgetting some piece that I'm not thinking of. I think he's probably done. Wasn't expecting to do that much on him tonight, but I don't know, kind of worked out.
Nice. Yeah, this purple looks good, I think.
Looks cool on camera. It's reflecting the light really interesting
Yeah.
ways.
Part of that is just because it's still pretty wet. The
Yeah.
weird army painter consistency didn't mix with the metallic that great. I could just put a stupid amount of hard coat in those things to make it like flush.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with the water. I think I'm just gonna paint them black. Then I will put a purple wash on, and then I'll just fill them up big time with hard coat to make them shiny.
I mean, you'll have to see when you put that much in it, it might basically turn white.
Yeah, good. That might be fine too, anyways.
Mhm.
maybe I just won't put that much in. Well, I think probably call it there. I'm not gonna finish out this one on the stream, but I'll get it done tonight probably.
Nice.
2 finished projects tonight and 1 nearly finished project. Another good day in the painting hangout world.
Now you just get to pick which of these cacti you want into Chopper.
They looked the same when I saw them.
They have slightly different personalities.
Oh. You communing with
Which
them?
one seems more like Chopper?
I mean, both of them, they're prickly.
That'd be a good way to describe Chopper.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Until next time, we might be doing a board game stream on Friday. We'll see. But that's all, folks.